One of the main reasons the Lakers have been so good since the Luka trade, besides getting Luka, of course, is the fact that LeBron has probably been the second best center in the NBA since that trade happened. You know, AD has been out, of course, no Joel Embiid, and LeBron is not starting at center, but those lineups and that flexibility has been amazing for this team on both ends of the floor. So now they go up against the Timberwolves, and you got Rudy Gobert. Polarizing figure is Rudy Gobert, but this is kind of like history. I know we don't view Gobert as like this historic player, but the fact that, you know, LeBron versus Gobert, I don't know, it just seems significant for some reason. And then that made me really think about the lack of players like a Gobert that LeBron has had to go against. Now, I'm not going to act like there's just a bunch of Goberts walking around, but when you really think about it, in recent memory, LeBron has not had a test like this one. Of course, he's had to go through great defenders, but it's been guys of like size almost, right? With like Draymond Green or Bam Adebayo or Al Horford. And I'm really talking about recent memory, not, 25-year-old, 28-year-old prime Miami Heat LeBron. Because of course he had to go through Tim Duncan, an older Tim Duncan, Roy Hibbert, a very slow Roy Hibbert. Way back in the day, he had to go against like a prime Ben Wallace. You know what? Actually, maybe Tyson Chandler is a good example of someone like this. You know what? I'm an idiot. What about Dwight Howard? Dwight would be the best example, but even that was like 15 years ago. And also, Dwight, we know how strong Dwight is. We know the vertical, all that. Dwight is Dwight. But Dwight's also like LeBron's height. Rudy Gobert is different. I don't like Rudy, but he's legit 7'1", 7'2", very mobile for his size. It's a different type of a beast. It just is, like him or not. Even like the 2016 finals where everyone talks about, obviously, Draymond getting suspended. People talk about Steph's injury. People talk about Iguodala's back, all that. No one ever brings up Andrew Bogut getting hurt. And Bogut was that type of guy that was actually pretty mobile, that could actually jump pretty high, had great timing, right? Bogut was completely underrated in my opinion, was an all-NBA, all-defensive level player. But yeah, Bogut got hurt. LeBron, Kyrie had free reigns to the rim. I don't want to relitigate that series, but I'm just saying, like, LeBron has not had to go up against that type of rim protector much in his career, especially the last decade or so. And really, I believe that has contributed to his longevity in a way where there's going to be a point in almost any game where LeBron's going to be either the tallest or weigh the most or be the strongest on the court. And that wasn't the case 10 years ago. So you have the biggest guy on the court, strongest guy on the court, who's also the smartest guy on the court, who's also a freak athlete, who in the beginning of his career had to go against all these 7-footers, and now he's going against Bam and Draymond that way less than him. It's just a different NBA, and LeBron has been able to adapt accordingly, right? So when I look at this series, and I know Gobert is going to have some awkward moments because he always does, and Chris Finch is going to be so tempted to bench Rudy Gobert, I don't think that's the way to go. I think you got to make LeBron work at center, because if they go small with LeBron at center, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Unless you really feel like Jaden McDaniels and Julius Randle can do a decent job slowing down LeBron from getting to the rim, I just don't see that happening. And then on defense, I think it's almost more important, meaning when LeBron is on defense, because he's one of the greatest help defenders in the NBA. And if you have a bunch of small guys trying to cut, trying to, slip to the rim, LeBron is going to suss all that out, and you're going to get some open threes, but you're going to get those threes for guys the Lakers want taking those threes. And this is actually the Rudy Gobert conundrum, right? Because in theory, I would say you want to make LeBron have to guard bigger players. You want to make LeBron have to second guess contesting at the rim. You want LeBron with Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert with a head of steam rolling to the rim, and LeBron has to make that help decision. The problem is Rudy Gobert can't catch the ball. Like that has always been the bigger problem. The problem is the Lakers can put Luka on Rudy Gobert and say, you know what, give him the ball. It's not that Luka's going to kill Rudy on the switch, because Luka does that to everybody. The problem is Rudy Gobert can't make you pay on offense. But the Timberwolves are an underdog in this series for a reason, and I believe the only way, I shouldn't say the only way because they could just get extremely hot from three, but the most likely way of them winning this series is trying to attack LeBron. I know, crazy, but Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle, Naz Reid, Make LeBron really be a center. Test out the limits of that. And then on defense, we're switching. LeBron, if you want to take Rudy Gobert one-on-one, live with that. Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, if you want to work that hard for your buckets, we're going to live with that. And we got Rudy Gobert behind. Of course, we haven't even seen the matchups yet. We don't know what's going to happen, but I think the only time the Wolves should be going small is when LeBron is off the court. Because at that point, you know, Luka wants to get into his bag. You also know Luka doesn't really want to get all the way to the rim, so you don't need a Gobert in there. And you know what? Luka, if you want to take 30-foot step backs over and kill Alexander Walker, cool, I guess. And Luka can kill you that way for sure, but you kind of got to live with something. And I don't envy Chris Finch really trying to game plan for Luka and LeBron because they are so similar and so different at the same time. And then you got Austin Reeves on the side. Like, it's a crazy, crazy team to try to game plan for. But the Wolves are not going to out small ball this Lakers team because LeBron and Luka aren't small, right? You think of this Timberwolves team and they're such a big team, you think they have that advantage. But when you think about it, LeBron, Luka, Austin, these are not small guys. So you think you're going to go small and Julius Randle is going to bully Rui. Now, Rui's going to hold his own. Luka's going to hold his own. Even Austin is stronger than he appears, right? But if you go really big, then you might be cooking. Now, I know this lineup is never going to be on the court, but could you imagine a lineup of Rudy, Naz Reid, Julius Randle, McDaniels, and I don't think they've played that lineup at all this year. Maybe they have. I don't think we're going to see it unless it's like a completely desperate situation. And the reason I believe that lineup would actually be viable against this Lakers team is you look at that lineup and what is missing. Maybe shooting a little bit, but playmaking, ball handling, right? That's what's missing. But the Lakers aren't a team that is built of players that can disrupt that, right? If you were to go against the Warriors, well, you got to deal with GP2 and Moody and Jimmy Butler, guys that will force turnovers. Or if you try to play that lineup against Houston or OKC or the Clippers, the teams that have guys that will really make you pay for not being able to handle ball pressure. That's not really the Lakers. Now, the passing could be an issue, right? LeBron, Luka, and passing lanes, they do that well. But the ball pressure is another reason I feel like that lineup could actually work. But I would think about it, especially knowing the Lakers are going to try to go small. Again, LeBron, we're going to make you out-rebound Rudy Gobert. Austin, we're going to make you get switched on to Naz Reid at times and try to keep him off the glass. I'm not saying it's gonna work, but I am saying I don't believe in going small with Mike Conley, DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, all out there for LeBron James to just completely pick where he wants to go. All out there so LeBron James knows he's not worried about any of these guys getting to the rim. And that's where this series is really like a paradox. It's really fascinating to me because you look at Minnesota and usually their perimeter defense is their strength. You look at Nickeil, even Mike Conley, still solid. Dante DiVincenzo, Jaden McDaniels, right? That is such a positive for them against almost every team, but not this Lakers team, right? You look at if they played Memphis and dealing with Ja Morant, we see what they do to Jamal Murray. Or if they had to play against a Jalen Green, they have all of these perimeter defenders you could throw at them, but then you go against Luka and LeBron that are gonna bully those guys. And speaking of that, Anthony Edwards, what I would do is not put Ant on Luka, not put Ant on LeBron, but put Ant on Austin Reeves. One, because I don't feel like he's a great matchup on LeBron. LeBron's going to want to play back to the basket. Anthony Edwards being able to pressure the ball is not something that's really going to bother LeBron. I think Austin will be initiating the offense from the perimeter more than LeBron. LeBron's going to operate out of the post, all that. But as far as the ball pressure, I think Ant is really like the perfect player to put on Austin Reeves' body type. He's faster and stronger, and I think he just has a better chance of making an impact on Austin than Luka or LeBron. And if you could really take out Austin from this offense or minimize him in this offense, I think that goes a long way toward winning the series. So those are just my quick preliminary thoughts on the matchup. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'll probably talk more about it after game one, but like, comment, subscribe. It will mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.